I cried at that moment, not knowing what to do. I remember when I was around 17, 18, I was making knucklehead decisions, not making the right choices, and my father was a bit fed up. So he drove me down to the park near where we used to live, and he gave me a talk and said, listen, you know, you've been kind of hard to deal with, man. Your stepmother, you're not getting along. You're burning bridges here, you're burning bridges by your mother's house. There's not much I can really continue to do for you at this point. He says, I think it's gonna be best you find yourself a room to rent. Back then, you used to be able to rent rooms out of a home or an apartment, $100 a week, something like that. And he says, if I can, I'll help you out. He says, but that's all I can do for you right now. And I opened the door, I got out the car, and I sat in number 11 School Park by the baseball field on the benches, and I cried, thinking, where am I going to go? Where am I going to sleep? What am I going to do with my life? And it was one of the toughest moments in my life that I can remember, being a young man, lost, but still caught up in his desires, wanting to do what you want to do. And I had very hard choices that night. I slept over a person's house in the basement that night. For the couple of nights after that, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. But that moment was a moment that didn't break me. It wasn't a moment that harmed me, or a moment that made me look back at my father like, what kind of man puts his child out? But I appreciate my father every single day for that moment, because perhaps if he wouldn't have made that tough decision, perhaps I would never have become the man I am today. The responsible man, the working father, the loving husband, the responsible father, and the one who has found the beautiful faith to live as righteous as I can be. So those tears were worth it. Those tears changed and transformed my life. And I thank you, Dad, for being in my life. And even though you had to make that tough decision on that day, as a father today, I can only imagine what and how you felt. And I thank you for never giving up on me, being my guide, and for always showing me love, even in the tough moments. And I understand that those tough moments called for tough action. But alhamdulillah, all praise and thanks belong to God, that through you and because of God, you've built one tough, strong, believing, dedicated servant to God, and someone who loves his family. Thank you, Dad. I love you.